Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. What we're gonna go over this week is the current status of the Iran war. So all sides are still trading attacks, and this is now the fourth month since the war started. Bombing started on February 28th. There is still officially a ceasefire, but it's becoming more and more fragile over time. Um, so the strikes that are happening now, the Americans are mostly hitting sites in southern Iran to soften the Iranians' control of the Strait of Hormuz. Whereas Iran is mostly targeting American bases recently. If you look at these pictures, these are of the U.S. Navy Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. And this was one of the biggest symbolic victories the Iranians have had recently. They inflicted a lot of damage on the headquarters. And yeah, everybody is saying that these are self-defense strikes. And they're saying that because nobody wants to cancel the ceasefire, except for the Israelis. The Israelis don't want a deal until the Iranian regime is overthrown. But everyone else doesn't want to cancel the ceasefire. So, yeah, speaking of Israel, so Israel is expanding the war in Lebanon because they don't want the negotiations to be successful, and they're trying to destroy Hezbollah. So they've gone all the way up to Beirut. So they've been even bombing the capital city, Beirut, and they were doing this even while they were having negotiations with the Lebanese government in Washington, D.C. So today is Tuesday, June 9th. Last Wednesday, the Lebanese government and the Israeli government agreed to extend the ceasefire. But the party that was not in the talks was Hezbollah. If you remember from my earlier video, Hezbollah is a proxy of the Iranian government. So Hezbollah rejected the ceasefire, and after it was officially announced by the Lebanese government, they quickly launched missiles into northern Israel. So, in those ceasefire extension talks, the Lebanese government agreed to strengthen their own military, and the West, mostly America, will help them with military aid to do that. So they could someday in the future disarm Hezbollah, because Hezbollah largely controls the southern part of Lebanon, and it's really like a parallel military in Lebanon. And so the Lebanese government and the Israeli government want to get rid of at least the military wing of Hezbollah. So yeah, please watch this video about the Lebanese front in the war.
Northern Lebanon, as Israeli tanks rolled through the streets and Hezbollah rockets flew into northern Israel, highlighting the difficulties of implementing a ceasefire agreed to by the two nations just a day prior.
If Hezbollah is intent on disrupting the ceasefire, the result is going to be on them.
Hezbollah has already rejected what Israel and Lebanese officials were hoping to accomplish, keeping hostilities at a boil, despite a cessation being a key demand by Iran to end the war with the U.S., despite it carrying out aggression earlier this week on Gulf nations and back-and-forth diplomacy struggling at best.
And we don't have any leverage to get the Iranians to cross over this bridge to sign the deal that we want them to sign.
If it happens, it could happen like over the weekend.
Once again, the American president is using time to determine an outcome, a box he's put himself into time and time again, which has led to a revolt.
We were told this would just be a few weeks, a few days.
Another congressional vote to put a check on Donald Trump's war powers passed on Wednesday, a vote that included Republicans. Grandstanders, Trump called them, that should be ashamed of themselves.
From day one, this has been an unpopular war. On the first day of the war, it was unpopular, and it's only gotten more unpopular. Trump has overreached, and even his own people understand that.
Trump's approval is now at its worst ever, and it could get worse. A deal could look like surrender, while the other option is risky.
Large-scale military strikes, I don't think, cut it. But there's got to be some level of strikes that we can make against their economy. They have to be very calculated.
Both sides appear to have miscalculated time and time again, and at this point it's unclear who comes out on top. Reggie.
So it's going to be very challenging to disarm Hezbollah because they also have a political party, and they have a lot of support from the Shiite population in Lebanon. So going after them is going to heighten political and religious tensions in Lebanon. If you look at the map of Lebanon, the bright green color are the areas where there's majority Shiite populations. So next, let's look at the negotiations in more detail. So the negotiations are taking a long time because everything is in writing, pen and paper, and everything is done through intermediaries. So the American government and the Iranian government do not meet face to face. They use intermediaries like the Qataris and the Pakistanis, and there's no digital communication in Iran with Iran's leadership because they fear assassination. If they send a text message or an email, they know Israeli and American intelligence can find out where they are and potentially kill them. So the new leader of Iran, Mujtaba Khamenei, the son of Ali Khamenei, who was killed in the beginning of the war, he does not appear in public, and he only uses pre-recorded videos when he wants to speak or give a message to the public. So the speed of the negotiations is tough, but also what each side wants is also making the negotiations tough. Iran has asked for 24 billion of their frozen assets to be unfrozen in order to open the Strait of Hormuz, but the Americans are not willing to do that, at least not in the preliminary stages of the talks. So in my opinion, that's not realistic. I think America eventually is going to have to unfreeze some assets or give Iran sanctions relief to open the Strait of Hormuz. And one of the main reasons Trump doesn't want to give them any of their assets back is because in 2015 he berated President Obama for giving the Iranians 1.7 billion of their unfrozen assets because they signed the nuclear deal. So if you look at the pictures, this is a kind of a usual place to store highly enriched uranium. So they're kept in steel containers in gas form, and the containers are especially made to not leak, pretty much. So another block to the negotiations is America doesn't want China or Russia to keep the uranium, whereas the Iranians would prefer to send it to one of those countries because those countries are its allies. And that was part of the 2015 nuclear deal. The Russians would take the Iranian uranium. And recently, Iran drew a red line, and they said if Beirut is attacked again, they would totally withdraw from talks. And so the Israeli military knew this. The Israelis are spying on the whole peace talk process, and they're spying on the main American negotiators. So they know everything that is being said. So the Israelis, as I said before, don't want these talks to be successful, so they bombed Beirut. And this made Trump very angry. So let's watch a video now about that process.
Out that Israel's Prime Minister in an explosive, expletive-laden phone call. Today, Tehran and Washington issued conflicting statements as to the status of peace talks, with Iranian state TV declaring negotiations have stalled.
A lineup to flee from southern Beirut as Israel staged its next move. Benjamin Netanyahu ordering strikes against the Lebanese capital, where a shaky ceasefire between his country and Iranian-backed group Hezbollah has moved to the brink of collapse, taking down with it negotiations between Washington and Tehran. The ceasefire in Lebanon is an inseparable part of any ceasefire and any final agreement to end the war, said an Iranian government spokesperson.
I think Israel is very intent on making sure that diplomacy between Iran and the US is not.
But the US president poured cold water on concerns, declaring peace talks were continuing at a rapid pace. I had a very productive call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and there will be no troops going to Beirut, and any troops that are on their way have already been turned back. But behind closed doors, reports that phone call was explosive. The US president fuming at Netanyahu over the Israeli leader's threats to Lebanon, calling him crazy. Donald Trump has insisted there's no pressure to reach a deal with Iran quickly. And 95 days into this war, which America started, diplomacy for now is at a standstill. At the White House, Lauren Tomazi, 9 News.
So as you saw, there's very angry and tough language, but it's definitely not a total break in the relationship at all. Trump and Netanyahu have a very good relationship, and some of their aides have even said they have a brotherly relationship. So next, let's look more at President Trump. So recently, he sat down with some journalists to answer questions connected to the Iran war. Please watch this.
in terms of how long we can expect gas prices as high as they are right now?
I don't need advisors to tell me that. I know what it is. You know, the Prime Minister of UK, United Kingdom, yesterday told me I'm meeting with my team to make a determination. I said, you don't need to meet it with the team. You're the Prime Minister. You can make your own. Why do you have to meet with your team to find out whether or not you're going to send some minesweepers to us or to send some boats? I said, you don't have to meet with your team. It's the same thing here. I can tell you that when this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. So is inflation, so is everything else. But frankly, much more important than short-term, even long-term oil prices, you can't let the most violent, vicious country in the last 50 years have a nuclear weapon. Because the Middle East will be gone, Israel will go first, without question, and they'll certainly take a shot at us before we get our act together and say we got to take them out. You can't let Iran, who's truly a nation of great terror and power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. And the other one, you know, they fought back. They could have yielded. But think of it, if we weren't around, they had tremendous power. They had thousands of missiles, most of which we've terminated. They had thousands of drones. They were making drones and missiles all over the place. We've knocked out most of those factories. I mean, now they're sending out 2 or 3 missiles. Now, you know, they've still got some. They might have 8% left. But mostly they've been eliminated.
So as you can see, there's a lot of wrong, ignorant statements. So even after there's an agreement, the Strait of Hormuz is opened again, inflation will go down very slowly. It's going to take a very long time, especially for energy markets, to get back to normal. Especially with gasoline. So gas station owners, when there's a crisis or an event that, you know, has drastic price increases, gas station owners actually lose money when prices are rising because they don't want to drastically raise prices. So they do it little by little. And gas station owners make money when prices are going back down. So when prices are going back down, they lower the prices, but slower than the wholesale market. And he has to be lying about not knowing Iran would strike their neighbors, because before the war started, Iran said explicitly that they would strike neighbors if Israel and America hit them again. And the Arab allies of America, such as Saudi Arabia, said they didn't want the war because of that. So, yeah, I think he's feigning ignorance there. And on the missiles, about 2 weeks ago, the CIA came out with an intelligence report saying that the Iranians had about 70% of their missiles still left. So, I mean, recently there have been strikes, so yeah, they probably still have about half of their missiles left. So, of course, Trump is a terrible negotiator because he is so ignorant about the world. And I think that's also connected to why he has unrealistic positions, such as not unfreezing assets or not or easing some sanctions, because as he and some of his aides like to say, they call the shots, or they think they can dictate terms, which obviously they can't. So lastly, I'd like to go over what I think will happen next. Yeah, I think there's going to be a few more weeks of low-level strikes. I would guess 1 or 2 more weeks. And then I think eventually Trump is going to have to change his unrealistic positions. And yeah, he's going to have to bite the bullet and unfreeze some Iranian assets. So yeah, that's the latest on the Iran war. If you enjoyed this video, yeah, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, yeah, please ask below. Thank you.